Hello, I am with Seed System Solution, and in this video, I'm going to highlight one of our sections of reports, the position report. If you are not able to view the menu or tab options that I reference within this video, please contact your admin user for Seed System Solution within your organization. To navigate to the position reports, you're going to go to Menu, Reports, Inventory, and then you're going to see a variety of options, such as position report by breeder number, position report by variety, product availability setup, and product availability. I'm going to give you a kind of a highlighted overview of all of these reports. You may have some additional reports that we've built from you that might include relative maturity or pedigree information. I'm not going to touch base on those, but just know that they do exist. So I'm going to start with the position report by hybrid, which is one of our most common reports. Within this report, you would filter the report based on if you're class, or you can view all reports by year. Some additional filters that we do have that you may not be aware of are we have relative maturity, which would look at the genetics table. If you have relative maturity entered there, you can pull products within specific relative maturity. Your licensed companies, if you're looking for a specific traded product. You can also use our hide production. That would hide the production values from displaying on the report and from the print and calculating in the totals. And then coming soon, we are going to also have a ability to omit products or flag products to be omitted from the position report. And that would be in the product list, you'd flag them, and then here you can omit them from displaying on the position report or the product availability reports. By default, you do have two filters that will be set. One is for the year, and it's going to be looking at your default year. And then one is for product status of active and only showing active products. By removing the filter, you can then look at all of your products. So once we're on this report, we're going to have a couple of columns. Your production column is going to pull values from your production field bins. For this to calculate an estimated unit, so you will need to make sure to enter a estimated seed count and an estimated moisture on the bin. Then your net POs, and that's going to be units that have not yet been received on a PO. Your bagging request, and these are going to be units that have not yet been completed on a bagging request. If you only have estimated units entered, it will display your estimated units, but once finished units are entered on the bagging request, it will display those finished units. Your on-hand quantity. So this is not your available quantity in inventory, but your physically on-hand quantity. And then your work orders in progress. These would be both make lines or take lines on a work order for this hybrid. And that's going to bring you to your available to ship. This is a calculation that is going to include your production, plus your net POs, plus your bagging request, plus your on hand, and then plus or minus your work orders in progress. And that's going to get you to your available to ship. Then on the sales side, we have your pre-bookings. We have these may or may not be in your final position total, depending on settings. We have a total bookings column, although this is not involved in any calculations on this report. It is for a reference purpose of knowing how many units you have booked already for the season for this product. Your refuge in progress, that's going to be any refuge units that have been assigned to a bagging request that has yet to be completed. And then finally, your units to ship. So these are your bookings that you still need to ship out. Some of these may be on pick tickets, but they have not been delivered yet. And that's going to bring you to your overall position or available to sell amount. So your available to sell is going to take your available to ship minus pre-bookings, if that's included in your settings, minus refuge in progress, minus to ship orders. As you can see, anything that is negative, we do try and highlight in red. There is one last column on this report, which is your position on hand. And what that is if you were to physically compare what you have ready to or still to ship plus pre-bookings plus your refuge in progress, and then you're comparing it to strictly your on hand minus only take work orders. So in this value, we're only looking at take work orders and not anything that's on the make side. And that's going to give you your on-hand position. So if you're looking at what you could physically ship out today, you might be looking at your on-hand position there. Some other things to just note about the position report here. Within our hamburger menu, we do have the option to sort by location. So when you sort the report, any of your reports by location, you're going to have your overall product or hybrid view, and then you're going to have your location or position by the individual locations. And these locations are displaying based on if you have a bagging request, a purchase order, on-hand inventory, or you've assigned a pickup location of this warehouse on a booking. So in any of those instances, we will get a line here for that location, and then you're going to see those same columns minus production, because production is only at the hybrid level, for each of those locations within that hybrid or product that you're looking at. On these reports as well, you may see an information icon. Within the information icon, that is going to give you a card. And within this one on the hybrid level, we're going to see our position made up of the individual products that make up that hybrid itself. Some additional options that we have in our hamburger menu is we can print a copy, save a PDF, or email a copy of this report. We can export this report with just the hybrid summaries, or we can export it including the location summaries. We can sort by that location that we chose, or we can choose to switch to a detailed view. And when we switch to a detailed view, we're going to get our hybrid level, grade, if you have grades assigned, and then your individual product. So in this case, I had already sorted the last report by location, so we are also seeing our location view. However, when you filter the position report, by default, we do not show the position or the location view. You then again have all of your same columns here that you did before. Again, noting that production totals are only on the hybrid level. Something else to note about the production totals is that if you sell multiple hybrids under one breeder number, those production amounts are going to show on each of the hybrids for that breeder number. I'll show you a report in a moment called the position report by breeder number, which if that's a scenario for you where you bag multiple hybrids under one breeder number, that report will probably be more useful for you than this report, as it combines those breeder numbers together, so you don't have those production numbers showing multiple time on the report. On these reports as well, some of the columns that you will run your mouse over, you may see highlight. Whenever you see those highlights, that means there's a card or a detail available that will give you a bit more information. Most of these can also be sorted based on column header sorts within those. For inventory here, your gray lines are going to be lines without availability. And then you do have a gear icon on the position report by product. And within that, you are going to have options to create a new work order or to add to an existing work order. When you create or add, it's going to open up the work order based on your selection. And then you would select which lot for that product you want to assign to that work order. And then you can assign how many units you would like to based on your available amount. Another new feature that's going to be coming for to ship columns is within there, you're going to see a gear icon with the ability to create a pick ticket. So you can create a pick ticket right from your position report. One thing to note though, and this goes for any time you're creating a document from a report itself or opening detail from a report is that when you have a report open in the background, that anything that refreshes your screen has to refresh your totals on any screens that are open. So your position report totals need to update as well as your pick ticket information. So that can cause the process to run slower. If you feel like your process is running slower at any time, just take a mental note and see what reports you have open and try closing those reports to see if that makes a difference in your program speed. Now within your Hamburger menu here, you have pretty much all those same variety or options such as print, PDF, and email, your different exports based on your different levels, as well as your different sorts. I did make a mention of another report by breeder number, so I'm going to navigate over to that report here. And I'm going to filter this down. And this report is going to sort, like I said, first by breeder number. So at the top of this report, you're going to see a bunch of products that don't have a breeder number assigned, so they are all grouped together. But then after that, it's going to group by your breeder number, then show your hybrids underneath of those levels. We do also have a report of this built with detail, so you can see the individual products as well. The next set of reports that I'm going to get into is the product availability reports. And these reports were designed to give to people like your sales reps or your dealers, who you may not want to give all of your overall position information to. So they may not be able to see the exact number, but you want them to be able to see if you have something on hand or sold out. So what's available for them to sell. And those are called your product availability reports. And you can see here that when I filter this report, it is going to, you do have all those same filters. And then you can see we have some words that are kind of displaying whether this is available, limited, contact office, or completely sold out. And you may be wondering how we set up those limits. Those limits are set up using in one of two places, either from the product detail report, or it is set up from the report that is titled Product Availability Setup. When you filter this report, it is going to automatically filter for only active products, and then you can narrow down based on your class or subclass that you want to set up for. And it is going to run the current position report based on the year that is selected just for your information here in your setup. These numbers that are set are not based on year, so once you put in your limits for that hybrid, it is going to carry through for every year. So if you change what you want your limits to be based on, then you would need to change them here. Or again, you can do it from any one of the individual products within a hybrid. The limits do carry through to all products for that hybrid. So we do not have it where you can set individual limits per product. These are going to be set at a hybrid level. And so when you're looking at this report, you see a couple of options. So you have your item in your trait, your current position, and then you have 3 data entry places. So you're available, you're limited, your contact office, and then we're going to show what the availability word would be based on today's position. And so right now you can see that all these ones with nothing entered are going to say sold out just because we don't have any limits entered. So the default is going to be sold out versus available. Once you put in a limit, this is going to be the low end of that category. So in our case of these Duracade here, anything above 500 units on the position report would be considered available. If it is between 500 units and 250 units, it would be considered limited. If it's between 250 units and 10 units, we're going to display contact office. And anything below 10 units right now, we would say sold out. Now you can make this 0, and have your sold out be at 0 units. But again, this is going to be anything under this amount would be considered sold out. So we can look at some examples here where we have set 170 units, and that falls between the available and the limited quantity, so we're displaying limited. If you have any questions about Seed System Solution, please reference our other training videos. Email us at grow@seedsystem.co, or you can register for our free monthly Seed System Support Zoom meetings. You can find the link in the bottom of our newsletter or on our website. Have a great day.